They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster.
Arnold, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV, because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally sleep comfortably again.
So being from Europe, I have seen firsthand how things can spin out of control. I know there is a fear in this country and all over the world that something like this could happen right here.
Trump called Arnold a ratings failure, but Arnold's response just broke the internet. The former Governator didn't just clap back, he delivered a full-on smackdown that's left Trump speechless. From Immigrant to Governor to Trump's worst nightmare, Arnold's journey is wilder than any action movie. Stick around to see how he used his secret weapon to school Trump on democracy. This has always blown my mind a little bit. 91% that watch this show regularly haven't subscribed. Could I ask you for a small favor before we start? If you like this show, what we do here, and want to support us, the free simple way you can do just that is by hitting the subscribe button. Remember when Arnold was just the guy flexing his muscles and saying, "I'll be back" in movies? Well, he's back all right, and he's got his sights set on a new target, the orange turd himself, Donald Trump. Our favorite Austrian oak has come a long way from his days as a bodybuilder. He went from pumping iron to pumping out legislation as the governor of California. But who would have thought he'd end up as Trump's worst nightmare? It's like a political version of David versus Goliath. Except David's got biceps the size of watermelons.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans. President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. Very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 by the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys.
Trump, being the mature statesman he is, decided to mock Arnold's TV ratings when he took over as host of the celebrity Apprentice. Grumpy Trumpy probably thought he'd won the battle of words, but oh boy, was he in for a surprise? Arnold wasn't about to let some self-tanning enthusiast with a bad comb-over get the last word. You see, our boy Arnie's got a secret weapon up his sleeve. And no, it's not a hidden Terminator arm, though that would be pretty cool. It's something even more powerful: his immigrant experience and deep understanding of democracy. Who would have thought that growing up in post-World War II Austria and becoming an American citizen would come in handy for taking down a wannabe dictator?
You famously said that the Republican Party has a problem at the box office. I heard you equate the GOP with the Titanic. Explain.
The reason why I said it was because their policies were such that they were not really including everybody. And we were losing them because we were not addressing those issues. So I was telling them, I said, look, the way you're going, by being so anti, healthcare reform and being so anti-environment and stuff like this, we are losing and we are dying at the box office.
Arnold's journey from bodybuilder to governor wasn't just about building political muscles. It was about understanding the true strength of democracy. He's seen firsthand what happens when strongmen try to take control, and he's not about to let that happen in his adopted home. So what could Arnold possibly say to Trump? How could the kindergarten cop possibly outmaneuver the self-proclaimed very stable genius? The anticipation is killing us. It's like waiting for the climax of a blockbuster movie, except instead of explosions, we're getting truth bombs.
What do you think about Donald Trump running for president again?
I think that's the past. And I think that we have to march into the future. And I think there are very talented people in this country on the Republican side that can run. So I would go, look in the future rather than in a rear mirror.
Well, folks, it looks like Arnold didn't just flex his muscles, he flexed his political smarts, too. Our favorite Terminator decided to drop a truth bomb on Trump that even the Donald's Twitter fingers couldn't deflect. And boy, did he come out swinging. Arnold released a video that had the internet holding its breath. Would this be just another celeb rant? Nope, not even close. Schwarzenegger came in hot with a zinger that left Trump's ego more bruised than his spray tan. plan. He suggested a job swap, saying, why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. Ouch. Talk about hitting Trump where it hurts. Right in his TV-obsessed ego. But Arnold wasn't done. He dug deep into his own family history to make a point that hit harder than any of his movie punches. He said, my father was sucked into a hate system. See, what we need right now from our elected representatives is a public servant's heart.
The only thing is that we don't have to go under completely. We don't have to wait for that moment. Let's change and let's go and be more open and go back to this kind of like a big tent idea of Ronald Reagan. And I think this is why we have helped it to some extent here in California with getting rid of gerrymandering and to do redistricting reform and to have open primaries.
Independents are about to overtake Republicans in California. What can California do differently?
I think independents are going to take over the Republicans, they're going to take over the Democrats also.
Whoa, did Arnold just compare Trump to you know who? That's some heavy stuff, folks. He wasn't just throwing shade, he was shining a spotlight on the dangers of letting hate take over. And you know what? People ate it up like it was free pizza at a college dorm. The video spread faster than gossip in a small town. It was shared and retweeted so much, you'd think it was a video of a cat playing the piano while solving world hunger. Why did it hit so hard? Well, turns out people are pretty darn tired of Trump's antics. While Arnold was dropping truth bombs left and right, Trump was, well, being Trump. Political experts pointed out that his social media posts often land him in hot water. It's like watching a toddler with a smartphone. You know something's gonna go wrong, you just don't know when. Even Trump admitted, the ones you get in trouble with are the reposts. No kidding, Sherlock. The difference between these two was clearer than the line between Trump's face and his hairline. Arnold's video was straight to the point, clear as day. Trump's communication style, about as clear as mud and just as pleasant. It's like comparing a well-oiled machine to a rusty old jalopy. Well, folks, it looks like the Terminator didn't just terminate Trump's ego. He sparked a whole national chit-chat about democracy. Who knew Arnold had more than just muscles up his sleeve? He's got some serious political mojo too. The eggheads in their fancy offices are saying celebs like our Austrian oak can really get people fired up about voting. It's like they're the cool teachers who make boring stuff interesting. And let's face it, politics can be as dry as Trump's sense of humor. But here's the kicker. The real power isn't in Hollywood biceps or Twitter tantrums. It's in standing up for what's right, even if you're just a regular Joe or Jane. So what do you say? Will you be back to the voting booth, or are you gonna let democracy get trumped? The choice is yours, and it's a real nail biter.